Well, what's good, people? It's been a long time since I did a standing up and talking video, so it feels strange to be honest. Um, how's it been this week? This week has been strange. The first few days, like 3 days, my sleep schedule was good in terms of going to bed early, making sure that I'm getting to bed early, and making sure that I'm switching off early. But the last 3 days of the week just devolved into chaos because basically, I live in a shared house now. So I moved into a shared house. So the situation where the boiler broke down and we had no heating for a couple of days. Now that's not a problem for me because I tend to somehow stay warm. So I actually prefer it when it's cooler. So I was able to stay okay for those last 2 days. But the day after that, the house basically had to warm up. So I don't know who messed up with the heating in the on the thermostat, but so they turned it up like 30 degrees. So the house was freaking boiling and it's roasting. So basically, when I tried to sleep, I woke up with insomnia because of the heat. So I was frustrated. You know, I obviously turned it down, and I was like, so I've been given the power or the password to unlock the thermostat. I think I'm either the only housemate that can do that, or one of the only housemates that can do it. But basically, I spent like the last couple of days, well, the day before, just obsessing and trying to figure out the best routine, the best temperature to keep the house at, so that the housemates don't complain that it's too cold. And it just freaking it consumed too much time. I was like, what? Why am I getting so stressed about it? But then I thought about it yesterday. Why this? When the emotions passed, and I realized I'm not stressed about the temperature and keeping the housemates busy from complaining. What I'm why I'm getting stressed is because I have lived in shared houses for the past few years of my life until the last time I stayed in a shared house was 2020 when I moved to my own flat, and I've been for the last 5 years in my own flat. But the reason why I'm stressed is because I know that these things can be the beginning of all sorts of arguments, all sorts of stress. It can be something as small as that. So, like, one housemate may disagree about temperature, another housemate, like me, may think it's just too hot. And if that was to carry on, then it would lead to just arguments, and that just leads me to want to move out. And I just don't want that kind of stress. So that's why I was so obsessed about, okay, what's the optimum temperature I can keep it at. So I've settled on keeping it at 23 degrees in the daytime and then 21 degrees at night. So my heating is going to be off at night, but having it at 21 degrees is going to mean the downstairs radiator is going to be on. So, and also the housemates can turn their heating on when they need to if it gets cold. So yeah, it's just the stress of things that you can't control, and that's what it led me to think about stress of things that you can't control. Because even in this house, there's an issue where the bins downstairs, they get really full, and there's no bin rotor to empty those bins. Now I don't really care because I have my own bins here. I keep my own I keep my own rubbish. I take care of my own rubbish so I can empty it. But the housemates downstairs, I don't think they were aware of that, or they are aware that I empty my own bins. And there's one particular housemate downstairs who's very messy, who contributes a lot of the mess to the bins, and he doesn't even care about the recycling or the non-recycling. He just throws it anywhere. So today, the landlord made a WhatsApp group, sent a message about a new bin rotor for taking the bins outside, for not the bins downstairs in the kitchen, but the bins which are on the street, taking them out. And I chimed in on that to say that, hey, I actually have my own bins, so I wanted to confirm if there's going to be a rota for emptying these bins downstairs. And I've noticed that he hasn't responded. So for me, that's very frustrating because that's another thing I can't control. The landlord being, how do I say, scared of addressing an issue. Um, I'm sure the housemates downstairs have complained to him that there is no actual bin rota for emptying the bins. So that's being escalated, and no one's basically, there's basically three housemates downstairs. Two of them are diligently every now and then emptying those bins downstairs. The other housemate, who contributes most of the mess, isn't. So I'm watching those three housemates. I'm watching them. I don't want to get involved because I've been in this situation where I'm trying to get involved in things I'm not supposed to be involved in, and it gets worse. So I'm just letting them. It's their fault really if they're not willing to talk to the landlord and say, hey, there's a problem. This housemate is not contributing to the emptying of the bins. Then that's their fault, and that's why I'm seeing it. They should be raising the issue, and if they're not willing to raise the issue, then they're going to be emptying the bins of that messy housemate for the foreseeable future. And luckily, I've sent a text on the WhatsApp group saying that I empty my own bins, so I don't contribute to that mess. But yeah, this week that's probably the thing that contributed to a breakdown in my sleep, because I was just like trying to de-stress, trying to watch YouTube or watch Instagram to de-stress, so I can distract myself from the frustration of being in a situation I can't control. And yeah, this is temporary. I believe this is temporary, being in this place anyway. So hopefully, if I get a new job that's high paying enough, then I can move into my own flat again. The annoying thing is obviously the salaries at the moment, because of this thing called supply and demand. You see it from dating, for example. That's where I learned it. Tinder. If there's more men than women act more picky, then women are more strict with their criteria, or they can just be very flaky because there's a 10-to-1 ratio. And that's the same thing with the job market. There's been an economic downturn, so there's a lot more people looking for jobs than there are jobs. So the employers are more picky, and they're more likely to be flaky, and they're more likely to push down the salaries, because realize, hey, what's the point of having high salaries when we've got all this talent? Let's just lower our costs as much as possible. So that's limiting things like, okay, what kind of flat could I rent? What kind of things could I rent? So that's something I have to watch out for. But that's going to lead to some downstream, this is my mind rambling, that's going to lead to some downstream consequences, like we're seeing the housing market for the first time crashing in the US, I think in the UK as well, for the first time since like 2008, because employers are lowering salaries and people not able to afford to buy or to rent in the same way that they were maybe a couple of years ago. So this is having downstream consequences. It's going to affect those people who are in those positions of power in those companies, who make these salary decisions, because maybe they're landlords themselves. So if they can't find people to rent, then it's only themselves to blame. And we'll see how this corrects anyway. Maybe there'll be another great, what do they call it, the Great Resignation. Maybe it'll be another one of those in the next 5 years. Who knows? Anyway, those are my thoughts. I had to just get them out of my head. And with that said, take care. Peace.